Okay, I'm sorry that we didn't have a plane fly in from Idaho, meet them at the airport, carry the crate of potatoes off the plane, bring it into the restaurant, chop them up, and then hand fry them in our fry daddy, and then take them with kid gloves and wrap them in, red and white checkered paper, and then put them in your own personalized monogram fry container. Are we asking for a little bit too much? You go into a fast food restaurant, it's supposed to be fast. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. All right, but there's no sense making a federal case about it. And we want to make our customers happy. We want to do the right thing by them. But if you think that making a total fool out of yourself in a fast food restaurant by having some silent protest that your fries were cold, like that's going to impact us, and like we're going to be shook from it, and we're going to have a staff meeting over it and wonder how we can improve as people, that's not going to happen. We're going to end up feigning concern and then talking smack about you and you leave. Because that's all we can do. That's all the power that we have. The premise of my channel is I basically get on to talk pop culture. And this week, there wasn't anything that I heard that anybody else hasn't talked about, and 10 times better than my limited YouTube abilities would be able to do. So I'm going to flip the script and I'm going to take my night off to talk about my night at work. And I work a part-time job at a fast food restaurant. Tonight, I dealt with some things that I think we need to bring some attention to, things that you can keep in mind and for your next fast food experience, so you can maybe be conscientious of your own actions and your own guest experience as the guest, and maybe have a care for the person that is working behind the counter. And if you're behind the counter, maybe you can laugh a little bit at the story, and it'll make you feel not so alone in the ridiculousness that you deal with. We had two customers tonight. Now, I work the drive-through, and the way it works, when I'm at the drive-through and I ring somebody up, I have the 1, 2, 3 on the counter. And if we have multiple cars in the drive-through, then they place the food in the order of the cars that are in line. But otherwise, if there's nobody in line, they make the food, I take the money, they hand me the food, I hand it off. I don't inspect it, I don't check it against the receipt. Whatever they give me is what I give to the customer. And I had a young lady come up to the drive-through, and right off the bat, at the beginning of the interaction, I knew something was off. Acting unsure of yourself when you order is nothing new. It's crazy to me when people order drive-through, they almost do it like Jeopardy style. Like, in Jeopardy, you answer a question or you give the answer in the form of a question. That's how most people in the drive-through give their orders. And I know for me, if I go to McDonald's, I say I want a 9-piece nugget, medium with a fry and a Coke. I don't say I I guess I'll have nuggets with fries and a Coke. It's almost like I'm on the other end saying, I don't know, you're the one that came to the drive-thru, you're ordering the food through me. There's no right answer to the question. Like, whatever you want to get, you can get. As long as you give me the money, I'll hand you the food. So many people do that. And so she had a little bit of being unsure of herself when she ordered. She wanted a combo, but she didn't want the drink. I guess when maybe I told her that she didn't want the combo, she just wanted to order the side and the sandwich. I don't know, maybe I sounded like I gave a little bit of an attitude. Something gets lost in translation when they can't see you. You could see them, they're on camera, but you're talking through a headset. And she came up and they handed me the food and I handed it off to her. And when I handed it to her, she made she like, thanks, chump, or like, thanks, bruh, or like some kind of offhand comment. And I didn't think anything of it. But what I did think of was the fact that she ordered a biscuit sandwich and a small fry, and the bag that I handed her definitely had more than a biscuit and a small fry in it. And it's almost like the minute you realize you handed someone the wrong food, they're already driving off into the great blue yonder. And so all you can do at that point is hope that they realize and they come back. And of course, you're going to be mildly annoyed that someone handed you the wrong food, but she was going to give me the wrong food to get the right food back, right? Bing, bang, boom, she was going to get what she ordered. We'd all leave happy. That's not what happened at all. So here I go with my little headset on and my little shirt. So before I can walk out the door and hand her the food, she takes that bag and she starts throwing that food every which way. And we have like a little terrace before you walk out in the parking lot, like a couple of tables with the fancy little like IKEA umbrellas that people can eat their food at and think they're at a nicer place than they are. Well, she's throwing food all up in that. I mean, and she goes, this and this is, you gave me the wrong effing food, and this is what I get. This is the service you get for serving your country. So I guess she's in the military. So not only is she being completely unprofessional, but now she's besmirching the American military in the process. Like, thank you for serving your country. Thank you for defending my right to work a shitty fast food job for $14 an hour as my part-time job to be able to pay my rent and get yelled at by the likes of people like you. Like, thank you for defending that freedom. But in any case, let me give you the right food, give me the wrong food back, and you might not want to come back, and I might have been annoyed having to deal with you, but we all move on and with our dignity intact. I left with my dignity intact. She didn't. She sped off in the wild beyond her. What blows my mind about this whole situation is she ended up paying me the $11 for her food, completely threw her food all over the place, and didn't take the food that she was owed. So it ended up costing her in the end. She ended up paying for food she didn't eat that she threw all over the parking lot and then didn't make out with the stuff that she really truly bought. So she got nothing to eat. And I don't think people realize, like, if you think that getting back at us is throwing the food in our face, maybe not directly at us, but throwing it in our face, and then storming off without the food you paid for, if you think that's some sort of revenge, it's not. Because all I had to, well, first of all, we all talked major ish on her after I asked everybody in the dining room to pony up because they got a free show. I was charging 50 cents a view for that. And all the people in the dining room had their opinions, and none of them were in her favor. And most of the people agree with the fact that all she did was end up. It's one of those things. It's like, I'll show you, I'll hurt me. But that's all she really did. But I was secretly hoping that she went around the corner to watch me go through the indignity of cleaning it up. Because all I had to do was go get a dustpan that's on the end of like a 4-foot pole and get a broom and literally sweep that up and dump it out. I mean, you don't have to mop the parking lot, right? So it took me literally 2 minutes. But let that be a lesson to you. If you don't get what you paid for, you're not getting back at us by not getting what you paid for and taking what you didn't pay for and throwing it at us without hitting us, only for us to sweep it up in 2 seconds and make fun of you for the rest of the night. So I don't know. I don't know if Amanda Bynes is out there somewhere because she went full Amanda Bynes. Remember, she ended up lighting that fire in someone's driveway in Calabasas. That's what this lady did. Except she did it in front of way more people and made a much bigger fool out of herself and didn't end up on the cover of In Touch magazine. So that was number one. So then we have customer number two. Now, when I came in today, our owner was in there, and he always makes us enforce policies that the chain makes you do through in every store, across the country. And I guess the new policy that we haven't been following through on is playing music. And this music is bad. It was like a generic Jamaican beach rumba type song, and then some generic version of Hakuna Matata for like an hour and a half. Now I have one of these in my ear, and that's why I have my night off because I listen to pop culture, and that's what I try to talk about every week when I jump up on here. But even with this in my ear, you could still hear it. But anyway, he was in doing that. So we have Karen McCarrington. That's what I'm calling her. I have two names for her: Karen McCarrington and Molly McButter. That's what I was calling her when I was cursing her out by myself, throwing the trash for the night in the dumpster out back, still ruminating about this next scenario. Anyway, she comes in with their son, and at first, I guess she went to the bathroom. And at first, her son was standing there, and he was a young kid, like maybe 14, 15. And he had that look of somebody that was kind of standing off to the side, looking at the menu, waiting for a family member who went to the bathroom so they could all order together and she could most likely pay for it. But I still asked him, is there anything I could help you with? And he confirmed that there wasn't. So anyway, Karen McCarrington comes around the corner, and she's got that Kate Goslin hairdo. We all pack on a few extra pounds every now and then, but it was very obvious that this wasn't the first fast food restaurant that she's been in, and it's certainly not going to be the last. So she comes up to the register, and the first thing she says is, that music. I don't know what this music is, but it's really loud in the bathroom. Now, I hadn't been in the bathroom. Obviously, I wasn't in the women's bathroom like she was, but they piped the music in both of the bathrooms. But I agree with her. I said, tell me about it. You missed Hakuna Matata, and now we're listening to Kenny G on steroids, and it's been like that for 2 hours. So we'll see how long it lasts, but I feel you on that. Kind of trying to relate to the guests a little bit, but still, it was a complaint. She had to make a point of letting me know that the music in the bathroom was too loud. It's not like we play death metal. So she makes like she's looking at the menu for a little bit, lets me know it's the first time she's ever been there, and then she looks behind me, and we serve chicken. We serve food in warmers. And she looks behind me and she says, well, how long has that chicken been sitting there? We're not dropping 40 pieces of chicken for one person's order. And it's busy enough that we're making enough chicken that you're not going to get something that's been sitting there for 3 hours. Okay? And now if we serve you cold food and you want to come correct, we'll go ahead and we'll swap it out for you. And we have a lot of those people that come in and say, can you make that can I have it fresh, please? And my response to that, my choice response is, we serve all of our food fresh. We don't serve old food. all of the food's fresh. Because technically, all of the food is fresh. It may not be piping hot, but it's not old. So technically, I'm not lying if it's not to their exact liking. Now, I do respect the people that say, you know what, I don't mind waiting. I don't mind waiting. I know it's going to take you a little bit longer, but would you mind dropping that fresh for me? I'll wait. Like, if you're going to give a little to get a little, then we'll play ball. But just to have an offhand comment, without even having ordered chicken, not even giving me an order yet, just saying, how long has that chicken been sitting there? Anyway, I was nice in my response. I said, it's been a few minutes. We never know how much chicken people are or are not going to buy. Well, I'm just going to have a fry. Now, our fries, I can tell you, we serve those fresh because we sell a lot of them, and we don't want to have them sit there only to have exactly what I'm gonna tell you happen. So anyway, she settles for just the fries after she insinuated that the music's too loud in the bathroom and that we should be ashamed of ourselves for trying to sell her some old chicken that she didn't even end up trying to order in the first place. And so I give her the fry. And now, mind you, I had already dealt with the mind binds. Okay, I already had food thrown at me by some crazy war veteran. When that happens, those things don't just go away when we're dealing with the next customer. We'll keep it in context. We'll keep that in mind. It's not this lady's fault that that lady spazzed out, but it all adds up over time. If you know, you know. So anyway, she orders the fry, and I say, I give her her money back, and then when I finally give her the fry, I'm like, "You're all set." That's what I always say. You're all set. Enjoy. She reaches in that bag and she goes, "Ah, these are cold." And I'm like, no problem. And I said, you know what? And I don't know why I did this because I usually don't. I usually take the path of least resistance and I just turn to the kitchen and I say, can you reheat these or can we make new fries? These are cold and we'll fix the problem. But for whatever reason, because I knew that the fries were fresh, because I know who's coming in and out, I know what we're selling and not selling, and I was hungry. And I shouldn't have done this in front of the customer, but I said, you know what? I'll eat them. I reached in that bag. Those fries were piping hot. I mean, these were objectively hot. Hot enough that you want to do a little bit of a when you ate them, or hot enough that you couldn't just stuff them in your face and swallow them without taking so much as a gulp of soda. And I couldn't help myself. I said, you know what? I said, actually, these are hot. And she goes, you know what? So I guess she thought at this point I was contesting her opinion that these fries were cold, which I guess is telling the customer that they're technically wrong. But in all honesty, she was technically wrong. And at this point, this isn't someone that got truly cold fries that isn't getting what they paid for. This is someone that just is a problem, has a problem, and wants to make a problem. So when I bit in that fry, I felt even better about the fact that I made a point in saying, you know what, I'll eat them. At that point, she said, I'll just take a refund. And I couldn't help it because she turned around and her son might have been looking at me, but I knew she wasn't looking at me. And I said, and I did that. Maybe a little bit more subtle than that. Well, of course, when your manager's done doing what she's doing, she's going to come back and, of course, tell me what happened. And then we're going to proceed to talk ish on her like we did about the first psycho maniac that war veteran that came in. It turns out that Miss the music's too loud, Miss how long's that chicken been sitting there, Miss these fries are cold, not only complained about the fact that the fries were cold, not only made my manager walk over there and issue that refund, but told her that I told her to her face that she was a psycho. Now, I think I might have said that as I went around the corner to the back of the kitchen as my manager went around to give her her money back, but I did not say it directly to her, and I wouldn't have said it loud enough for her to really hear unless she was an eagle eyed Karen McCarrington that was trying to get as much ammo as she could to go on Yelp and blow up my whole entire world. So, of course, my boss comes back and she has to do the obligatory act like she's yelling at me until Karen McCarrington, Molly McButter, makes her way out of her store with her son who wanted to crawl in a rock and die. And I can understand why. And if she is this way to a fast food worker that she's only known for 5 minutes, who's complained about four things to this said person that she's known in 5 minutes, what the hell is she doing interacting when she's interacting with her son and raising him on a daily basis? I felt bad for her being in that situation. And I felt bad for having to leave with her and continue to live with her. Long story short, the way I feel about it is this lady may have thought those fries were subjectively cold. And she might not have liked the fact that I reached into that bag and proceeded to eat them or proceeded to say, you know what, these aren't that cold. But at the same time, can you resist the urge to try to ruin my entire life? You know, if you want to say to my manager, this is my first time that I've been here and this is my last time, which she did say, that's your prerogative. And if you want to go the extra mile and place an annoying Yelp review, that's also your prerogative. But what if this was the only job that I had? What if I had absolutely no skills? This was my full time job and I'd already been hanging on to it by the skin of my teeth, whether or not it was my fault. And I got fired as a result of this. Was the fact that you got cold fries and got your money back anyway really worth ruining my job? meaning I possibly couldn't pay my rent or pay my bills, leaving me destitute. Like there are consequences to your actions beyond being annoyed at some random fast food worker. So that's something I wish people would think about the next time they make a complaint at a restaurant like this. And there's always takeaways, there's always things we could do better. But come on, bro. I feel like people need to temper their expectations. If you came into Outback Steakhouse and we sold you a raw cold steak, okay, now you got a case. Now you got a leg to stand on. You're buying a fry for $1.99 from us and that was hot. Okay, I'm sorry that we didn't have a plane fly in from Idaho, meet them at the airport, carry the crate of potatoes off the plane, bring it into the restaurant, chop them up, and then hand fry them in our fry daddy, and then take them with kid gloves and wrap them in, red and white checkered paper, and then put them in your own personalized monogram fry container. Are we asking for a little bit too much? You go into a fast food restaurant, it's supposed to be fast. It's not a hot food restaurant. It's not a fast hot food restaurant. It's a fast food restaurant. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. All right, but there's no sense making a federal case about it. I mean, to us, this lady's just another customer. Honestly, just another customer. And we want to make our customers happy. We want to do the right thing by them. But if you think that making a total fool out of yourself in a fast food restaurant by having some silent protest that your fries were cold, like that's going to impact us, and we're going to be shook from it, and we're going to have a staff meeting over it and wonder how we can improve as people, that's not going to happen. We're going to end up feigning concern and then talking smack about you and you leave. Because that's all we can do. That's all the power that we have, right? You're the one that gets to go on Yelp and make us look like total fools without us being able to defend ourselves. We can't go on Yelp and say, you know what, I worked at that restaurant and here's what we have to say about it. Here's what actually happened, because then we're going to look like these mean fast food workers that are just trying to be combative when the customer's always right. The customer's not always right. In fact, the customer's mostly wrong. And when they are right, we do our best to say they're right. But in this case, in this particular night, crazy militant military chick and Karen McCarrington, Molly McButter, neither one of those were right. And so I just had to vent a little bit about it. I mean, I don't know if this rant was particularly funny. I don't know if it was particularly poignant. I don't know if you particularly agree with it, but it's life and it happened. So if you're a fast food worker, try to keep these situations in context. Try to be the bigger person and maybe do some of the things that I didn't do, but don't be afraid to do some of the things I did do. And if you're a customer, try to give us some grace. Try to give us a little bit of the benefit of the doubt and realize you're not the only customer coming through there. It's mass produced carbohydrate. Oh, and that's the other thing. Sometimes I had someone come to the drive-thru and ask me, "What's the nutritional information on your food?" You know what I said? Well, it's not good. I mean, we serve sugary soda and carb fat loaded food. We serve diabetes and heart disease. That's what we do. Okay, there's no nutritional information worth reviewing at a place like ours. You don't come to our restaurant because your health, you care about the nutritional information. You come to our restaurant because you're too lazy to cook and you just want something that's cheap and tastes good. Well, it's 2025, so something that's more expensive than it should be and tastes amazingly fortified with MSG. Why are people coming to the likes of my restaurant acting like they're going to a Michelin starred restaurant? You're not. Okay, and you're not the only customer that we. That's the other thing. I once had a customer come through. Now you tell me, you're at a drive-through. You've got 10 people ahead of him and 5 people behind him, and he orders a Dr. Pepper, a Pepsi, a sweet tea, and an unsweet tea. Those are four brown liquids. Okay, four brown liquids. When I handed him the drink carrier, he said, "Well, do you know which one is which?" And I just very politely said, I didn't track them. I would just taste them to make sure, just to confirm. He put a complaint, and now he did quote me, correct me when he said that blondish kid, the kid with the blondish hair, which actually his complaint ended up making me feel really good because number one, I'm not a kid. I'm 46 years old. And number two, my hair typically comes out brassy, and most people say it's red. So the fact that he got that I was going for blonde made me feel really good about the situation. But come on, bro. Do you really feel like we have a drink chart, that we have little index cards we put in front of each drink to track them for you? And I know we have those stupid bubbles in the top of the lid that don't press down. But I mean, even that gets convoluted after a while. You're hanging out with the four people that got the sodas. Can't you all just grab one, taste it, and then do a little bit of a switcheroo? Is it really worth asking me a question I can't answer and then going on Yelp and spending the next 10 minutes or however long it took writing the complaint and uploading it? And then wasting my manager's time and the owner's time by having to, number one, respond to it, number two, talk to my manager about talking to me, and then having her have to act like she cares to the owner and then act like she wants me to do something about it when she coaches me. I mean, and I have to say, there was a benefit to the customer in them doing that because I do try now, and if it's manageable enough, I will, to the best of my ability, try to track and let them know which one is which. But I don't think it's with outside the realm of possibility or unreasonable for me not to know which is which. He knew we were busy. I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like we're set up for failure when we work in these restaurants where the goal is to get them in, get them out, make them happy, and do it at a price they can afford. And people think they're going to Lebec Fin, where we're going to walk out with a fine bottle of wine and ask how they want their steak cooked. It ain't happening. I'd like to know in the comments how you feel about this little story and whether you think I'm being unreasonable, what it's like from the customer's perspective, or if you have worked in fast food, some of your stories and what it's been like from your perspective. Again, agree, disagree. That's my story, but I had to get on a vent about it.